All right, everybody. This is the second week of psychology. You know, the first week we had a nice little introduction video, so this is the second week. We do have some new people joining us this week, so I kind of wanted to briefly go over how to access everything here in Schoology, and then we'll get into the work for the week. Okay? So first of all, this is the video that you'll see every week on the updates page. And it really is just supposed to tell you about what's upcoming for the next week. So for new students, you land on this page called the updates page, right? And I can make some announcements here in case, we have, when TCAP's around and stuff, I make announcements like, hey, the lab's closed from this time to this time, that sort of thing. And the updates page will have the introduction video. Last week it wasn't working so well, so I put it in the webinars folder, which I'll show you in a sec. So if this is your first time ever hearing my voice, singing the APS Online Psychology class, you're going to want to watch the introduction video because it, kind of goes over everything in the class. But in brief, let me talk about this. On the right-hand side, you see reminders. For instance, we have our webinars on Fridays, right at 11 o'clock. So you can see that there. You have a couple of things due on this Friday, August 16th. One is our discussions. We're going to have another webinar, so we're going to talk about class for the week and that sort of thing. Last Friday we had just a brief webinar about just getting everybody kind of used to the class. So it was nothing, big content based, so, don't worry about it. But this week, for this webinar, we're going to talk about the history of psychology. So we're going to really start into the content. All right. So you can kind of see that we have a poll going on here about summer break right on the landing page. And, eventually you'll see a video populate right here. As soon as I'm done recording it here, you'll see it sticking out there. On the left-hand side, we've got important information about me, my cell phone number, so you can call or text me, my email address, so you can email me, a link to the webinar, so you don't have to go to the webinar folder if you don't want to. You can go just right down to the link, and Friday at like 10:55, click on that, and then you can join the class, and we'll be all ready for 11 o'clock. All right. Okay, so the updates page has announcements and stuff, but on the materials page is where everything really gets interesting. So when you click on materials, what you're going to find is quarter one. Now, you're not going to see quarter two, quarter three, quarter four yet because we're not there. So they're hidden from you, although since I'm the teacher I can still see them. And for new people, remember course info has my contact information, it has the rubrics, it has the pacing guides in case you're interested in what's upcoming, that sort of thing. You can kind of see, we're going to go through this whole year. We're going to start with the history and the biology of the brain. We're going to talk about learning this quarter. Next quarter we'll talk about memory, perception, language, and intelligence. Quarter three we're going to talk about lifespan and personality. So we get to talk about how personality is formed. We get to talk a little bit about personality disorders. That's really interesting. And then quarter four we get to talk about psychological disorders, and we get to go through the diagnostic and statistic manual for the doctors and psychologists, psychiatrists, and counselors use. And we get to talk about a little bit about sociology, which is the behavior of groups, which is quite interesting. And it has the standards here too, in case you're interested. So we're going to go into quarter one, and if you're brand new to the course, we're starting in Unit 1 here, but I want to show you the webinar folder, okay? So if you click on the webinars, you'll see two things. You'll see the live webinar link, which is the same link as the one down here, in case you, for some reason, can't get to it there. And this was the intro webinar, right? So, if you need to watch it, and if you haven't seen it yet, it's short. It's like 15 minutes or something like that, but, it kind of gives you an overview of the class. All right? All right, that's the webinar folder. This week, I guess for people who haven't been in the class yet, this is what we've done last week, right? We have emailed me, hopefully, that's due on Tuesday. We have posted in the favorites, that's due on Friday. We've talked about what is psychology to you. This is a cool little picture album. clicking here real quick. And people are posting, hey, a Rorschach test added by Ashley, very cool. Brian added this cool graphic with the brain Venn diagram sort of thing. And Anna added this cool picture about like rays emanating from the brain. She's got a cool explanation for the caption too, so you should read it. But these are what we think of psychology. Kind of a cool thing. We'll do this every once in a while when we talk about various subjects. So the first week, I'm waiting till it goes back. The first week is just some introductory things. Email me so I have your email address. Post into the favorites so I get to know you a little bit. And let me know what you think of psychology. Remember that everybody's doing the introduction to online learning. If you were here on us for day 1, it is due on Monday, August the 12th. If you're just getting to us, and this is the first time you've kind of heard of the introduction to online learning, it's a class that you have that everybody's put into, and you want to have that due as soon as possible. It explains everything about Schoology you need to know, and it's a must-do. So this week we're going to talk about what is psychology and how is it used in different areas of our society. So we're going to actually get into some meat of the course. So on Friday we're going to have a webinar. It's going to talk about the history of psychology, and it's important that you watch it because the assignment that comes from that is going to be to research a psychologist. So I'm going to go over the different types of theories that are present today in psychology, and you're going to think of a theory and then find a person that represents that theory and do a little research on him or her. All right. There's also a quiz that goes along with the webinar. So if you're not there at the live webinar, you need to go to this webinar quiz. People who are at the live webinar, you automatically get proficient, which is pretty cool, right? And of course, I'll have the PowerPoint here in case you need to look at it later. I mean, you can look at it now, I guess, if you want to prepare yourself for the awesome lecture to come. This week we're going to, the assignment is, well, one of the assignments is brain games. It's got a cool video in here from the show. I don't know if you watch it on National Geographic, called Brain Games, but it's got a bunch of interesting, the show has got a bunch of interesting like brain teaser sort of things and explanations for why your brain believes certain things, right? Looks like Anna already watched it. She says the brain is amazing. It is amazing, And she's excited. Anna, I like that. I appreciate that. Hope I'm pronouncing your name right too. I haven't met you yet and had you pronounce your name to me. But so that's one assignment, the brain games one. You just got to watch the video and then post a comment down here about what you thought of the video. And if you want to watch Brain Games, it's on National Geographic every week. I don't know, I have it set up on my DVR, so my kids and I watch it all the time because they think it's awesome. And they're right. Psychology and practice is our discussion this week. And the question is basically your opinion, and what you've heard, or if you've had experience with counseling or with psychology in a general sense, When you imagine a psychologist practicing, what do you think it looks like? Okay? We've already had some posts in there. Well, just the ladies. Good job, ladies. Gentlemen, I hope to see yours soon. There's a nice little video of Homer and his psychologist. Well, and it has to do with furniture, too, so. I'm a big Simpsons fan, though, so if you can't tell. And what else do we have this week? We're going to be researching a famous psychologist. Now, you can start this now if you want to. You have to choose one of the famous psychologists mentioned in the webinar. If you are doing this before the webinar on Friday, what you want to do is probably take a look at the history of psychology here, and the last couple slides have a list of all the psychologists that we could, or the ones that we could easily find enough information on to do a little research about. There's lots of psychologists. The field is, especially in neuropsychology and neurobiology, kind of exploding right now in terms of especially learning and kids and students and all that sort of thing. But we need some famous people in order to do research on. So even if there's some interesting current research, it's not necessarily old enough for us to be able to find enough information to do a research paper on, so that's kind of what we're going to do. And I'm going to go over a little bit of research tips when we have our webinar. Okay, so our webinar this week is going to talk about the history of psych and a little bit about how to properly conduct some research. All right, and that's it for the week. So I know this was a kind of long one again, but I wanted to make sure that everybody knows what to do. Okay, so basically you just follow numbers 1 through whatever, right? This one last week was 6, and this week is 5. All right? All right, guys, remember, when you have questions, you need to email me, okay? Or call me, or text me. Do something to get your question answered. All righty? All right, guys, we're going to have a great week, and I will see you on Friday. Or if you come into the classroom this week, remember we're opening up Gateway, so if you want to come by Gateway on Monday, you can. All right, I will see you around. This week, I am at Central on Wednesday, Friday, and Gateway Tuesday, Thursday. So I will see you one of those 2 days. All right, guys? All right, everybody, take care, and have a great week.